Hello, welcome back. My name's Dalton Dory. Excited to have you here with me today. So, I'm going to be describing for you what I call the content funnel. And this content funnel is ultimately what's going to help you build your brand, expand your reach, and create credibility in the marketplace. Whether you're brand new to your career, you're a seasoned business owner, you're a veteran in a particular industry, no matter what it is, independent contractor, you're a consultant, you run a B2B SaaS organization, no matter what it is, I want you to be able to have a framework so you can start to create content, to create influence, to build a brand. And in this video, I'm going to describe how to do exactly that. What is the content funnel? First and foremost, so many people never actually get started in content creation, in developing a personal brand, in building and sharing and creating, and they spend most of their life in the position of a consumer versus a creator. And well, while there's nothing wrong with this, right? Everything created ultimately was created to be consumed. So many people live on the side of the road in this ditch that is consuming, and they never actually get back into the road to where they're consuming and they're creating, and ultimately shifting over to where they're doing more creating than consuming. And consuming, nothing wrong with that, right? I consume books and audios and podcasts and social influencers. Like I grew up on YouTube. I love this stuff. However, I think that in order to build a brand, in order to contribute, in order to get ahead, somebody has to be willing to create. And so in the content funnel, I'm going to share with you how exactly you can start to build your content. You can start to create a brand. You can start to expand your reach. And what this is going to do is it's going to drive leads to your business. It's going to create credibility in the marketplace, which is arguably the most important reason to even start. Number three, it's going to provide an opportunity flow for you. Opportunities are going to open. People are going to be attracted and interested in working with you, partnering with you, creating affiliate relationships with you. And on top of that, it's going to allow you an avenue to refine your ideas to find what resonates with your audience. All right. So whether you're just getting started and you have 2 followers or you have 2 million followers, this content funnel can allow you to really create maximum impact without a ton of effort. I'm going to draw for you here on my iPad kind of an overview of what you might think of when you think of the content funnel. And it's actually going to be a little bit, it's going to be probably the opposite of what you expected. So we're going to start here with the funnel being at the top. Right. And so how does this work? In fact, let me redraw this funnel. That's not a great funnel. So this is it. This is the funnel. At the top of the funnel is you. Right? And what does this mean? Your ideas, your thoughts, your business, your service. And from there, we're going to be able to take what you already know and what you already are good at, what you possess, the stories you have, the obstacles you've overcame, the testimonials you can share, right? We're going to be able to take all these things and package them up and then create this essentially this waterfall methodology where essentially you create an initial piece of content here, and that piece of content can then be essentially waterfall down into multiple channels. So what does that mean? At the end of the day, we've got all kinds of stuff. We've got typical social channels, Instagram, we've got LinkedIn, we've got Facebook, we've got TikTok, right? We've got all these different forms of social. We've got X, we've got so many more. And but that's not it. We've also got YouTube, so we've got long form content. We've got podcasts, right? We've got what would you call it? Discords. We've got school and other LMSs. And these are good platforms to host longer form content for more niche audiences. And then we've got things like traditional books, and we've got blogs, and we've got publications, and we've got what else do we have here? Newsletter. And so we have all these different opportunities to be able to create content. And what so many people do is they see somebody famous that they like, Alex Hermosi, Andy Elliott, they see Russell Brunson, they see these guys creating content and they see it across every platform they're on. And they think, oh gosh, I got to become a master at that particular platform. Not if you learn the content funnel here. And so the content funnel, the beauty of it is it allows somebody to basically create the content one time. By the way, I think funnels with one L, but it allows them to create the content one time and then modify it a little bit later into different forms to be able to create different types of content for different media sources. And there are platforms out there that you can leverage to distribute this stuff, right? There's Buffer, right? There's other social media platforms. I like the Buffer because I can create one post and then I can push it out to a dozen different systems. But the content waterfall is this: you create content. The content is ideas. The ideas you capture in long form, right? The long form generally is going to be more applicable for things like YouTube or things like a podcast. And so you capture the content there, and then ultimately you take the long form and you split it up into short form content, and then that form content can be distributed across most socials where short form actually makes sense, right? You can take a YouTube transcript and have it using ChatGPT pushed out into a LinkedIn post. You can take a podcast and have it clipped using Opus clips. Opus is another good one, include in addition to Buffer, where it'll basically take your clip and make it into reels. You can use these systems. Descript does the same thing. CapCut does the same thing. You can use these systems to then create the short form, and the short form is for really it's lead magnets, really it's little tastes of your content that drives people over to these more longer forms of content, right? That's the goal. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, you can take, and this is the way I like to think about it. I like to take my long form plus my short form and then funnel that in to creating these more mass publication type opportunities. You can take a bunch of short form content, you can take a bunch of long form content, YouTubes and blogs you've written, and LinkedIn articles you've posted, and things like that. And then you can take them and collect them. And you can use AI to do this. You can use Claude, you can use GPT projects, right? There's lots of different options. And then essentially you're going to assimilate them, and then you can use that to start formatting things like books. Like my first book, Everyday Influencer: The Power of a Personal Brand, which, by the way, the link's in the comment if you want to go ahead and grab you a copy. We talk about some of the principles behind this, but ultimately that's what I did. I wrote so much content and distributed it that it only made sense for me at some point to take all that content now and start to pull it in and organize it and then ship it in a book. Right. And so the book isn't necessarily anything monumental or new. It's really just a whole lot of ideas consolidated, concise, and really easy to consume. And then once you've been able to do this, again, you take all these forms of content and then you can push them over into your blogs, right? Or your publications, your newsletter, things like that. Pull the transcripts, right? And then you can use that information. Or if you've pre-scripted, which I don't do a lot of pre-scripting, I have ideas and frameworks, but if you take the pre-scripted template, you can then plug it in and use it to post a blog or a publication or whatever it might be. So with that, this is what I would consider the content waterfall and what's most or content funnel waterfall method. What's beautiful about this is really a couple things. Number one, if you do this correctly, it's going to reduce your time spent on content creation dramatically. So you can do what I'm doing here, create a YouTube video. Take this video, break it out into short form clips. Take those short form clips, turn those transcripts into LinkedIn posts, turn those into Twitter posts, right? So it don't have to be too complex. And the purpose of it is this at the end of the day, right? The purpose of any social platform, of any medium of communication, is to share ideas and extend value to people so that people know what you're about, what you're passionate about, and what your business is, and what you do, and how you can help, and how you can serve, so that it drives them back to your business. The name of the game in content creation is building businesses. And what so many people miss out on is they think that marketing and advertising is really just going out and getting a billboard or putting a commercial up. But the reality is you can market and advertise literally for free on hundreds of platforms today by going and just creating content and posting and finding what works and double tapping on that and digging deeper and refining your skills and getting better. And so my encouragement would be for you, if you haven't already started, today's the day. Bite the bullet, take the first step, right? ultimately, unless you're going to commit something, then you're never going to be willing to reap, or you're never going to reap the rewards that commitment could provide. If this is helpful, let me know. Drop a comment, shoot me a message, subscribe, all that. I'm going to be bringing more content like this more often. And again, my name is Dalton Daughtry. Thanks for joining my channel today, and have an awesome rest of your day. See